And welcome back. Today we're flying out the F-105 Thunderchief, or the T-U-T as some of you might call it. And this thing is, well, it's a designated ground pounder. And of course we are going to be spending the next 15 minutes using it as one. We're going to be using the CCIP to get some bombs off, on pillboxes and bridges. And then make sure that we fly this thing as closely as the real life designation as absolutely possible. That's of course a whole lot of bogus, because we don't do that here. This thing is extremely fast. It feels a little bit wonky to aim and to fly. It's a bit of a chunky plane. It feels a little bit like the F-100 or maybe an Su-7. A little bit in that category. The gun goes where you want it to go, and the Vulcan is amazing. But keep in mind it's on the left side of the plane, and sometimes when you zoom in, the rudder will actually obstruct the enemy vehicle. So you can roll a little bit to the right, making it so that the Vulcan is on top of the fuselage relatively to the ground, making it, in my opinion, slightly easier to aim. But of course this is our preference, and some of you might have varied results in this thing. Me personally, I faced 10.3 extremely often, and when you start facing SMTs and everything else that BR, or God forbid the Mirage launches the 530 at you from range, there is just very little you are gonna be doing. You can outrun most of the missiles, but if they decide they want you dead, you are going to be dead. This thing has no business as 9.7, it's simply too fast. It goes about 1350 on the deck, which is absolutely insane for this BR, but at the end of the day, it is not a carry plane. You can get kills in by rushing in, killing people early on, getting people off guard with the Vulcan, getting people off guard with the missile. It's not a bad plane by any means. It's simply not a plane you will be able to carry in if you get, well, a regional matchmaker or an up tier. Full down tiers, of course, you have a Vulcan, you have insane speed, and you are virtually untouchable. But most of your games will be at 10.0, 10.3. So what I like to do is I like to stay low, use the fact that I'm really fast on their side of the map. A lot of people will be AFK climbing, a lot of people will not be paying attention, and you'll find people flying in formation and stuff like that, and you really just are here to ruin their fun. Sounds a bit dickish, and that's because it is. You fly this thing like an absolute asshole, and that's just the way you fly this thing the most effective, at least in my personal experience. So you go ahead on with the first guy, it's a Vulcan, good range, good damage, and you have good ammo in this thing as well. You go ahead on with the Yak-38, and that's something that I don't want to deal with in the late game, because, well, high powered missiles in this thing are not very fun. And the second reason I'm going for this guy is because he's in front of the pack, he has an air spawn, he is pretty fast, and by going for this guy I can start my departure towards my friendly team, because we got up-tiered. It's a 10.3 game, I missed my shot, and I'm gonna be diving out. I want to keep my speed here, I want to get the separation up, and I want to be belting out of here. I do not want to stick with that Yak-38. I will win the dogfight from that position, or dogfight, I will kill him in that position, but there they are. They're starting to pour in from their runway. I killed someone, people know that I am there, and people are starting to converge on you, because you will be the only one on that side of the map, and you will most likely be the only one spotted, at least the one that's closest to them. So you are going to get 2 or 3 guys on your 6 at that point, and then you can just start running away. Asshole tactic number 2. You just don't care what's behind you, you just gun it. You leave everyone behind. And of course you are going to get up-tiered here and there, and you won't be fast enough to just run away from everyone, but you are still fast enough to delay them for a very long time. It takes time for them to catch you. If they are 3 kilometers behind you, maybe 4, because you turned around in time, and they're only 50 kilometers an hour faster than you, it's going to take a while for them to reach you. If they are chasing you and not doing anything else, they are wasting their time, energy and fuel, giving your team more of an opportunity to start killing all the people. And I turned around here, trying to keep the pressure on these guys here in this little fight on the map. I see him arise, I know that I'm below him, he's probably looking at the FOC and the F3H, because they are very easy kills, so I'm gonna be betting on the fact that he is not paying attention. So we shoot a missile at him, and we are just gonna be extending away again, exactly as planned. Mirage goes down, F4F early goes down as well, and now we have a little bit of a problem. We have an F-104 on our 6, as well as a Mirage, and the F-104, this is an F-104G, and yes, he is a little bit slower than us, and he turns worse, but it's still a very annoying plane to fight when it's 1v2, for example, when you have one of them on your 6 and another vehicle, because the F-104 really just drains you of all your energy. And I don't mind having the reverse an F-104. The problem is, the F-104 is next to a Mirage, and I do not want to start turn fighting an F-104, or anything for that matter, when there's a Mirage close, because that guy will close the gap pretty quickly, and if he shoots a magic at us, well, it might team kill the guy that's on my 6 here, but it's also very likely that the magic is going to come my way, and if I'm not going supersonic, if I'm not outrunning the missile, very slim chance I'm actually going to be dodging it. So now the Mirage is contested by someone else, so I'm going to be turning it out a little bit away from him. If the Mirage tries to cut off my flight path because he's so busy trying to catch the bomber, he is going to die to my entire team that's over there. F-104 is now on me, the Mirage gets engaged, and now I have basically a 1v1 with the F-104. And what I want to do here is bleed a little bit of speed, get position, and just start hosing at the guy. So I get out of the way, I roll over his nose, we start a little bit of a dogfight here. I'm gonna keep my afterburner on. I don't need to be slower than this guy. I want to be as fast as possible once he gets in front of me, closing the gap as much as possible. There we go, 100 meter shot, not very hard. We squeeze the trigger and down he goes. If I hadn't killed him there, no big deal. I have my entire team around me because I kept them busy at the start. I had 2 people on me, I killed one, I forced the Yak-38 slow, and then I kind of dragged them around the map, making them do absolutely nothing. And there you go, easy win. These teams are not very great, especially in the up tiers, because you are going to be looking at a lot of F-105s in your team, and they are going to have SMTs, MFs, Mirages, as well as F4F earlies. And all of those planes are not very fun to fight, and you will have to pull something out of your ass most of the games to actually win those. And I'm not talking about getting 20 kills, you are going to have to support your team in a little bit of a different scenario. The way I just showed you is of course situational, and it worked out this time. It won't always work out. In the end of the day, you are still a strike fighter, you are not a designated air-to-air plane. So don't treat it as one, it's still a good vehicle, but don't expect to carry many matches when you are against, say, maybe a 1v1 even versus an SMT. It's just very, very rough. And the missiles are great for stuff like this, SPS, no flares, massive heat signature, and very, very slow. I don't need to aim, I don't need to shoot, I got missiles and he started out without flares. Easy kill. Kill number 4, last of the match, and we are gonna go right into the next one. And don't expect what I'm showing you here to work every game. Sometimes you just get caught off guard. Sometimes you will have a Harrier that climbs to 8 kilometers, points his nose 90 degrees straight down and shoots an AIM-9G at you, and you won't actually see it. Keep those things in mind. Your biggest enemy will be missiles that get shot from angles you don't expect. You are here. You disturb the enemy, and that's a good thing. But keep in mind, they see something, they point their nose at it, and if they have a long range missile that turns pretty well, you are in a bad time, or you are in for a bad time. So be aware of it. Don't expect this thing to be your miracle vehicle. In the end of the day, it is great for ground pounding, it is great for ground RB, but the teams right now aren't very great, and you have to pull your weight in some way or the other. And again, we are just gonna go head on here. MiG-21 SPS goes head on with us. MiG-17 turns out just a little bit too late, and that's gonna be 2 kills in. And now we're gonna have everyone on a 6. Luckily, we are going 1250 kilometers an hour. The J-35 will not catch us in this current state, because he has too many missiles on, and he will not be able to outrun us for the time being. The Hunter, not even gonna bother with that one, and the MiG-17, just lemao. Like, it's simply not going to happen. So I'm just gonna do a very wide loop around the map, and at this very moment I turned the game into a 7v11 if we ignore the fact that I am dealing with these guys. I got 3 guys on my 6. They are busy trying to chase me, even though they will not catch me. And I also killed 2 guys, taking 5 people out of the match. I'm the only one that has to do anything here. So the rest of the map is now contained by 11 of my teammates versus 7 of the enemy, making it very likely that my team is going to win the team fight. Then I come back into my team and we can turn the rest of the fight into the 3 people on my ass versus everyone in my team that managed to survive the 7 versus 11. And those odds are pretty high. And every time this happened, when people started chasing me, even though they weren't catching me, and I killed 1 or 2 guys at the start, it was basically a win. Because you take so much pressure off the enemy team, or of the friendly team, that they can simply just do whatever they want and win. The problem is that also very often you're gonna have about 8 to 10 of these F-105s in your team, and they're all gonna be ground pounding. And then when you come back to that quote-unquote 7v11, you're gonna end up with well, 1v10, except the 10 is on their side. I killed 2 guys, I have 3 on my 6, and my entire team died because they were ground pounding, not paying attention, and they will just die. Those games also happen, not much you can do there, but at that point, if you are flying the best plane in the game, if I get an MLD at 9.7 and get into that matchmaker, I will probably not be able to win it either way. And that's simply because carrying 1v6 or even more at top tier is virtually impossible. Also, keep checking your 6 if you overshoot someone, chances are he's gonna be shooting at you. It's probably gonna save you a few bucks in terms of silver lines. And here we are again, this time more of a down tier, and I'm not really worried about losing the game at this point. We have a pretty solid team, so I'm gonna be a little bit more greedy, and what I want to do here is get points for the event. I need to get kills, I need to get wins, and I need to get ground units. So I want to actually cut off the first wave of ground pounders and just kinda get some free kills in. And that's what this plane is great for. You can just turn in after the first wave in the down tier, and anything that's behind me right now, even though I'm turning, will probably not catch me. You have a J25A that you have to kind of worry about, and some other vehicles, but in general, there's not much that's actually going to pose a threat to you. So you can kind of just turn around, ignore everything on your 6, and gun all of these guys down. We miss on the W.I.N.T.E.R. He manages to just pull out of the way because he turned a little bit to go for the ground, for the bomb base. Go head on with the SU-7 because he's coming back from his initial bombing run. That's great, and that's why I like doing this in these kind of matchups, because when they start going head on with you, NR30 is not a better gun in the head on versus the Vulcan. Well, to be honest, it's a worse gun altogether. And he's gonna start shooting missiles at me, not really worried, I can just keep flying straight, and that's not gonna be catching me. He notices that, he breaks off, because he's not gonna be catching me either, just like his missile isn't. And we are just gonna go head on with this guy here, shoot a little bit, lead just a little bit too little. And that's also, I mean, I misjudged my gun there. I thought I had to aim right there, but the plane just, it doesn't feel as precise as you want it to. So sometimes when you get those quick shots, when you try to lead it very quickly, when you start firing, the plane might not be exactly where you might think it is yet. MiG-21 coming in, and he's gonna be sitting on our 6, but I also know that he doesn't really have anything to kill us with. He has the R3s, not really worried about those, and he is simply not fast enough. And my entire team is alive at this point, and this is why when I saw the enemy team, I saw a lot of dots early on, and then I saw a few other ones right behind that, which mostly indicates stuff like V2s, A32s, and the lesser attackers and the SU-7s. When you see half the enemy team being in attackers, I'm not really too worried about it. F5 here, he's in a dogfight, he's going extremely slow. Hold the trigger down, saw his wing off, and we are just gonna be extending again, because this MiG-21 is gonna be doing absolutely nothing. And what do I do now? You might ask. I'm not gonna be reversing this guy, at least not just yet, because I don't really have to. My entire team is alive, there's another F-105 coming in, and we are gonna be using him to dogfight this guy in a little bit here. It's gonna be more of a wolf fight, because I'm gonna be in a numeric advantage, so I don't really have to worry. Pop some smoke here to indicate I am not turning around. Feel free to chase me, you are not getting the kill. F-105 on his 6 will also be slowly catching him. So I'm gonna be waiting for him to make a move, and he chooses to go into a little bit of a climb, which is a perfectly valid strategy. But I'm just gonna be waiting to get a little bit of separation. I'm gonna be turning out here to get even more separation in, go straight for a little bit longer, wait for him to do something. At this point we have a little bit of distance, he doesn't start on my 6, and we can start using the fact that I bleed a lot less energy than him to our advantage. Right now he's going Mach 1, I'm going 0.8 roughly, so I'm a lot slower. I have 700 rounds almost, so I'm just gonna be shooting here to keep the pressure on. Very likely I'm not getting anywhere near a shot. There we go, nowhere near, shoot anyway. And we just keep turning on the 6, but the thing is, it's a 2v1, and a MiG-21 doesn't like fighting 2v1, especially when it's the F-13. Just completely drained out of energy, he focuses attention to the wrong guy for a split second, and then he's just hanging in the side of my Vulcan. And that's gonna be all I have. I promised a MiG-21S video yesterday, but I made so many MiG-21 videos lately, and well, many people were waiting for this one. They want to know if they want to grind it, and they are just enjoying this thing, a lot of you guys. So I thought, why not do this one first, and then I will upload the MiG-21S tomorrow. This time for real. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you all in the next one.